this is my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, so in this episode, we actually find out what the world's power is, and it's not fun. So Joseph and Kakyoin are on the defensive. They're fleeing from DIO after their car wreck last episode, using Hermit Purple and Hierophant Green respectively to swing around like Indiana Jones. So eventually Kakyoin comes up with an idea, and Joseph and Kakyoin get into position to actually lower DIO into a trap. So Kakyoin at this moment reminisces about when he was a kid. He didn't really try to make friends, pointing out that he knew he was different because of his stand, and realized that even if he tried to make friends, no one would be able to actually see Hierophant Green. So he realized, well, I might as well not make friends because they're not really going to understand me, because Hierophant Green is basically invisible to them. And this all inspires him to come up with a brilliant idea to actually trap DIO, which is to actually make Hierophant Green invisible, as of sorts. So Kakyoin's idea is to create a web out of Hierophant Green's tentacles, which should, in theory, keep DIO put in his place, so DIO can't actually approach Kakyoin without setting off a flurry of attacks from Hierophant Green. So that it seems like DIO is going to be back in the corner, but then in the fraction of a second it all goes sideways when Kakyoin is immediately blown away and is sent flying with a hole through his stomach and smacks into a water tower. In his dying moments, he looks at the clock, realizes what time it is, and realizes that his parents have probably gone to bed by that point. But this starts to get Kakyoin thinking. As he's looking at the clock, he starts to realize that the way DIO cut through his fences were almost instantaneous, and realizes that it couldn't have been possible for him to do that all at once. And slowly but surely figures out that DIO's ability enables him to stop time. And sure enough, as DIO turns on Joseph, Kakyoin tries to figure out a way to tell Joseph without DIO finding out. So what he does is he uses the last of his strength to fire an emerald splash at the clock, destroying it, hoping that Joseph will get the message. And sure enough, Joseph eventually does. He's now on the defensive from DIO after figuring out that his Hermit Purple, despite being able to channel Haman from his part of the series, is ineffective against DIO, who now has a stand and is also a lot more powerful to boot. So Joseph quickly realizes that his stand is not built for combat, and very quickly tries to run away from DIO, swinging from rooftop to rooftop until he eventually clicks in his head about what Kakyoin's message actually was, and finally figures out that DIO has the ability to stop time, and comments to himself that that's a little bit broken. So eventually DIO manages to corner him, and Joseph points out that he's already figured out what the world's power is, but also points out that there's most likely a stipulation, since he realizes that if DIO could stop time as long as he wanted, he probably would have killed them all when they first came into the room, and wouldn't have just wasted his time killing Nikasaku at the start. And he probably would have killed them all if he could, realizing that DIO most likely has a time limit on how long he can use his ability. And with that, DIO actually attacks him, but actually pulls his punches, because he realizes that despite Haman not really working offensively, it sure as hell still works defensively, as basically Joseph used his Hermit Purple to create basically a DIO-proof vest. DIO can't actually touch him because he's channeling Haman through his stand, which is now being used as a protective barrier around him. So, however, DIO is smart and quickly figures out a way to get past Joseph's defenses without actually touching him, and sure enough, kicks a chimney, which sends debris flying into Joseph, who then falls off the roof. Unfortunately for DIO, Joseph winds up landing at the feet of Jotaro, and Joseph is quick to try and explain to Jotaro what exactly DIO's power is, but he's cut off in mid-sentence when DIO uses his power to stop time, and explains it for him. And to himself, yes, but to us as the audience as well. he explains that he does have the power to stop time, as stated previously, but also he does have a time limit, which is about 5 seconds. Well, as he puts it, 5 seconds of stop time is, he says it's a little bit fuzzy, but you get the idea. So yeah, he points out that it's 5 seconds now, but as he points out, because he's immortal, it'll eventually, his powers slowly grow accustomed to his new body, his ability to stop time will grow exponentially until it doesn't have a limit, or at least according to him. And sure enough, at that moment, he decides to throw a knife at Joseph's neck to keep him from finishing his warning, and then unfreezes time at that moment, which put Joseph out of commission because he's no longer able to fight because now he has a knife in his throat. But Joseph is still able to get a warning out to Jotaro regardless with the last of his strength before he passes out, pointing out that he's not going to be able to stop Dio because Dio has the ability to stop time. And sure enough, he then passes out, and Dio goads Jotaro into fighting him, pointing out that he could just run away, pointing out that he really has no chance of actually beating him. But despite all odds, Jotaro decides to fight him anyway, because he not only has he presumably killed Joseph, probably not, but he's also killed Kakyoin to boot. So Jotaro's pretty pissed. And sure enough, he approaches Dio, remarking that, and I quote, "I can't beat the shit out of you if I don't get closer." So basically now it's a fight between two very close range, but also very precise and very powerful stands. Jotaro is immediately hit with the first attack because, as Dio points out, he's just a little bit too slow because he can use his time stop to actually just stop time and kill him anyway. But also the world is just slightly faster than Star Platinum. So Jotaro wasn't able to get a standout to defend himself in time. However, Jotaro remarks that it's only a flesh wound, and the two actually fight for real, with Jotaro quickly figuring out that they're more or less evenly matched because they're the same type of stand. So that's where the episode ends. It ends with the two of them actually facing off one-on-one, but I'm assuming Dio is going to use his time stop based on what we see with the preview, because it's very clear that without time stop they're evenly matched, but with time stop Dio has the upper hand, so it's going to end poorly. I mean, he managed to kill Kakyoin in a fraction of a second with one punch. So clearly he's very powerful and is eventually going to use that tactic to actually win in a fight against Jotaro. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to wind out working for Dio, but we'll see, because there's still one last part of this three-parter. So we'll see how it actually goes. But in any case, yeah, that's my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, check out my Patreon in the description below as well if you want to help support the show. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that I'm my way saying thanks. So be sure to check those out in the description below as well. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!